Hello, Synthwaver. Alonso here. I know that it can sometimes be very hard to finish tracks, and if you're piling up the unfinished tracks in your hard drive, then you're not alone. I've been there myself. Today, I want to show you a very simple tool that will help you to finish all the tracks that you start. And how do I know? Because I've been using it for the last few years, and without fail, guaranteed, I've finished every track that I have started by using this tool. It's called Active Production List. Let's take a look. What you see here is a very simple spreadsheet, and the important thing is that every track that you enter here is a covenant, is a pact that you're making with yourself that no matter what, if the track gets put here, it will get finished. It doesn't matter when, but it will get finished. It has to be something that when you're lying in bed at night, you think about the track that you have here. Well, I don't want you to lose sleep over your music, but it is meant to keep you honest and always remind you of an unfinished work that you have that you need to close this loop. All right, so how does this work? Here we have the instructions. Just click on this cell. Step number 1, enter the track name, start date, and target end date. So for example, here's the track name, my cool new track. The start date, let's give it today's date, which is February 16. And target end date, this is important. Here I suggest using a target end date that feels like a challenge to you, but that's not impossible. For example, if it typically takes you, let's say, 2 months to finish a track, maybe you could start with a target date 2 months in the future and see if you can bring it down to 1 month. And if it currently takes you 1 month to finish a track, maybe you can see how to make your process more productive and you can speed it up to where you can finish a track in 3 weeks or 2 weeks. Currently for me, I know that I can finish a track very comfortably in 2 weeks. I can do it in a week if I really focus and make the time to make this happen if I clear my schedule. And I know that I've in the past I've produced a track a week for 5 or 6 weeks in a row, but I know that I cannot continue like that over a long stretch of time. For example, a year. I cannot do 52 tracks in a year. That's really too involved, too much work. However, for me, a track every 2 weeks is fine. Okay. So in my case, I'm going to set this to 2 weeks into the future, and that's, I think, March 1st, 2024. That's my target end date. Again, this target end date has to be challenging for you, but not impossible. And don't be lazy. Don't give yourself 3 months to finish a track. Then here is where we will enter the actual end date once we're finished with the track. So for example, let's assume that I finished this track on 2/28. Okay, cool. Oops. In this case, I finished early, and that's fine, right? Maybe I could have finished exactly when I said I would, or maybe I finished a few days later, like 3/6/2024, or maybe for whatever reason, life got in the way and it took me a really long time to finish it. Let's say, I don't know, a month and a half, whatever. So 4/1/2024. All right. And then the idea is that you use the comments field to enter anything about the production of the track, any ideas for improvement. So for example, if you completed this track in 2 weeks, it went just as you expected, you can say, I don't know, I like this track very much. Cool. That's something that you could enter there. Or maybe if there's an improvement idea like, I spent a lot of time just trying to find the right patches for my synths. So an improvement idea would be create a favorite patch folder to waste less time finding sounds. Something like this. If you capture an improvement idea every time that you write a track, you'll see that in time your process will become more and more productive. I think I skipped the instructions here, but in any case, step number 2, like I said, once you enter a track here and you have put an actual start date and a target end date, this thing is a pact with yourself. And it's very important. Don't start any other tracks until you have finished this one. Okay. You can, however, do practice exercises like create your main stacks, create loops as a practice because you want to, I don't know, develop your compression skills or your EQ, whatever, right? So that's just like a training session, a small project just to develop your skill in a certain way. But don't start any tracks until you finish this one. You have to practice a lot of restraint to pull this off, and this is why it works. You can, however, capture any track idea somewhere else, or simply, let's say, after this track, I have this other track kind of nagging me that I'm very excited about, but I have to wait until this one is finished. So I'm just gonna put it here, my cool track number 2, but I'm not gonna give it a start date or an end date until I finish this one that has a start and an ending date. Step number 3, when the track is finished, enter the actual end date. And step number 4, in the comment section, like I mentioned, I'm repeating myself here, but that's fine. Enter anything about the production of the track that you want to remark on or any ideas for future improvement. Once again, this is very simple, but very powerful. I've been using this for the last few years and it really works. But it's hard because you have to practice restraint. Anytime you start a new track, it's like falling in love. You only see the good things, the nice things. But as time goes by very quickly in a track, as you're in the midst of punching your opponent, of battling this thing out, you always run into problems and issues. And that's the point where you say, oh, I'm not so sure about this track anymore. Maybe if I start another one, that one will go easier. And if you continue doing that, that's why you pile up the tracks in your hard drive. And the way to stop that behavior, the way to reverse or put a halt to the skill of not finishing tracks is to use this tool. You gotta show restraint. You gotta be very formal with yourself. Remember, this is a pact. Very simple, but very powerful. I'm gonna leave a link in the description of this video so you can access this Google spreadsheet. And very important, to be able to use it, go here to File and make a copy. So you save your own copy of this. You can edit it and change the colors or whatever else you want to do. But that's pretty much it. I hope that you guys found this useful. Do try it out and let me know how it goes. If you have any questions or comments, you know where to find me. Keep synthwaving, my friends.